Desoto Cavern is 160 feet underground. It's 12 stories high and the length of a football field. The impressive rock formations were formed over thousands of years from the constant dripping of mineral-rich water.
Normally, a stalagmite will grow 1 cubic inch every 200 years.
The cave is constantly dripping, and when visitors get hit by a drop, they call it a cave kiss. And let's get that basic question out of the way. What is the difference between a stalagmite and a stalactite?
Stalactites, they hold tightly to the ceiling, and stalagmites might reach the ceiling one day.
One other thing, the cavern is named after Hernando de Soto, the famous Spanish explorer, but there's no evidence he ever visited the cave.
There are records of De Soto when he came through this area, there are logs of him talking with Indians and so forth about this cave. There's no record that he ever came to the cave, but he was in the area. The city of Childersburg was settled by De Soto's men.
The Mathis family bought the cave more than 100 years ago. Alan Mathis, the great-grandson of the original owner, has operated it since 1975.
Going through the cave is kind of like a small Alabama history lesson because we cover it all.
That history lesson begins with the Native Americans who considered the cavern a sacred burial ground. In 1965, the University of Alabama excavated this small area and found the remains of 4 adults and a child.
So after they did the testing on them, we allowed the Indians to come back in and rebury them in the cave. So they're here somewhere, but we're not sure where.
The first known white man to visit the cave was I.W. Wright, who left behind the oldest known cave graffiti in America in 1723. But it turned out to be his tombstone when the outraged Indians scalped him for defacing their sacred cave. During the Civil War, the cavern became a factory, turning bat guano into gunpowder.
We have a leaching vat just over here, which is a replication of what may have been down here in the process that they used to leach the nitrates out and then boil it down and then just have the calcium nitrate, and they would make the gunpowder.
The cavern's most colorful period was during Prohibition, when it was used as a tavern.
It was kind of rough at that time, a lot of shooting and fights and so forth, so they called it the Bloody Bucket.
In recent decades, the cavern has become a tourist attraction for visitors to explore. And a visit to the cave, once considered sacred to the Native Americans, ends with a biblical-based light show about creation.
The seventh day, God rested.